There was a land far away that was known as the country of light. And the country of light was ruled by a generous and wise king. And the people who lived in the country of light had everything they could possibly need and everything they could possibly wish for. There was only one thing, one little shadow, and that was that the country that bordered the country of light was the country of darkness. And the people who lived in the country of light, they were a little bit unsure about the country of darkness. Nobody wanted to go there because they were scared. It was so dark that they would never find their way home. And so nobody ever crossed the border. They never dared to go beyond the country of light. And they lived in a little bit of fear. Now, the king, in his great wisdom, knew that it's not good for people to live in fear. And so he wanted to find a way that it would be possible to go into the country of darkness and to come back, to find their way back. And so he asked his advisors, and he asked all kinds of people, how can we do it? And finally, a young boy had an idea. He said, let's take a horse and its foal, a baby horse, and we'll bring them to the border, and then we'll separate them. We'll take the foal with us into the country of darkness. When we're ready to go home, we'll release the foal, because everybody knows that a foal can always find its mother. It can always find the mare. And so the king thought it was a good idea. Now, being a wise king, he knew that he would have to be the one to accompany the party of people who would go into the country of darkness. And so a date was set for 2 weeks later, and preparations were made. And the king and a group of people who had volunteered and many other people came to the border. There was a great celebration. People were so happy that finally there would be people who would dare to go into the country of darkness. And the king and his group of people took the foal and crossed the border and began the journey in the country of darkness. And let me tell you, it was really dark. You could barely see the hand in front of your face. It was so dark. And they just walked on and walked and walked, and all they could feel were the stones under their feet. And because it was so dark, they had no idea if minutes had gone by or even hours or days. They just kept walking so that it felt like the soles of their shoes became thin with the stones that were under their feet. They walked and walked and kept walking and walking, and then suddenly they heard a great voice. And the voice said, "Pick up the stones." Well, some people immediately bent down and picked up the stones. And some people didn't, because such is the nature of people. People picked up their stones, put them in their pockets, and kept walking. And the others said, "No, I'm not picking up stones." And they kept walking. And they walked, and all they could feel were the stones under their feet. And it just went on and on. They couldn't tell time. They were so disoriented. It was just darkness. They barely knew that one person was in front of the other. And then they heard the voice again. "Put down the stones," it said this time. Now, the people who had picked up the stones immediately took them out and put them down. And the people who didn't in the first place, they picked some up, because such is the nature of people. And they kept walking. And there was nothing else there, just darkness, the stones under their feet. And the king decided it was time to go home. So they released the foal on a long string, and they began to follow it as the foal made its way back towards its mother, towards the mare. And after they'd walked for some time, and they couldn't tell how long, they saw a tiny light get larger and larger, and suddenly they were back at the border, and they'd made it out. They were back in the country of light, and they were delighted and relieved and happy, and there was a great celebration. They'd come out. After some time, they remembered the stones. And so they put their hands in their pockets and they took out the stones. And you know what they found? They found the most beautiful, precious stones. Diamonds and rubies and emeralds, all different colors and shapes and sizes. And the people who didn't take the stones, they were sorry. And the people who had taken the stones, they were sorry they hadn't taken more, because such is the nature of people. Now, I'd like you to, for just one moment, to close your eyes. If you feel comfortable closing your eyes, just close your eyes. And I want you to imagine for one moment that you have a stone in your pocket. And I want you to take it out, hold it in your hand, in your imagination, and just get a sense of what color is that stone? What size is it? Is it small or large? Is the color bright or dull? Is the stone smooth or is it bumpy? Has it got sharp pieces? How does the stone feel? And in your mind, in your hand, just touch that stone. Feel, is it warm or cold? Is it heavy or light? And as soon as you have the strongest sense of what that stone feels like and looks like, its color, shape, and size, its weight, put it in that place in your body that it fits perfectly. Thank you. Okay, you can open your eyes now. When I've done that exercise with people, they've put that stone in all kinds of unusual places. Some people put it in their stomach, some people put it in their chest, some people put it right here in between their eyes. Some people put it in the place where they've had pain, physical pain, and some people put it in the place where they haven't felt strong enough somehow. Some people put it here when they felt they haven't had enough of a voice, but somehow that stone seems to heal. So I hope it does for you too.